even further beyond!
Yeah, my name is Zakashi, and in this video is going to be a very quick video, short video. I'm going to edit it even though it's a short video because I feel like it's a video that's going to be quite useful for you guys. People always ask me, especially my PvP videos. For a long while I didn't even show my equipment, so I literally just said this is the team I'm using, let's get into it, and you'd see the units I'd choose, whatnot. But the equipments are a real essential part especially in PvP. And depending on what you're doing, if you're trying to get like a high rise and rush or something like that, it can literally change your whole outcome of the battle. So I'm gonna give you different perspectives of how I choose my equipment. I'm not like the all-knowing being of equipments, but how I choose equipments should definitely help you to choose equipments so that you can actually have the right things for your team and your playstyle. So there are obviously some equipments that are way better than others, but you'll be able to diagnose that yourself when I actually explain what I do to choose my equipment. So I'm going to use my fusion team because my fusion team is actually my best team by far. You can see it's got the most Z's and some Z pluses. I have some other teams with some Z's, so I'll go through them as well. But I'm going to go into my fusion team right here. And on my fusion team, you can see I got all these characters here: Vegito, Blue Kefla, Super Vegito, blah blah blah. Because of how the fusion team is actually set up, if you know the fusion team, Kefla's a main and Vegito Blue's a main. Both of them are strike orientated. So if we go into their cards, he has 2 strike cards. He's a melee type, so he's gonna be getting a lot of strike cards if I bring him. If I go into Kefla, she also has 2 strike cards, and what's good about her is she changes all of her blast arts to strike cards. Here changes blast arts into cards into strike cards. So there's just going to be so many strike cards for this team, because I'm always going to run Kefla and Vegito Blue. They will always be there. And I think also this Super Goji is a melee type, which is even better. So I've got 6 strike cards just additional to what I'm bringing. So using this team as the basis, because this team is very strike orientated, it makes sense to run it strike orientated. Like, you'd be an idiot to do otherwise, because it's best to boost your main stat rather than trying to bring up the other stat, which would be the blast attack, and balance it out, because you're going to be having more strike arts. So why not just boost strike arts? You have less blast arts in the battle, so there's no point of actually buffing blast arts. So what I go ahead and do, I look for the best equipments with blast arts. So I'm actually going to go into the equipment selection, and I'm just going to show you what I have. So for Vegito Blue and Kefla, I believe I've made sure to pretty much get the most strike damage out of them that I can. This equipment specifically that I have is one of my favorite ones because it maxes out at 20% strike damage. Not all equipments have that much strike damage. Some will have 18, some will be 15, some might be 12, lower and lower. Like, obviously if it's higher, if it has a higher cap, then you want to be aiming for the highest amount. I wish I had more of this equipment at Z, because this equipment is beautiful. Trying to get 20% strike damage. Kefla, I should really give her one of those, but I believe this one has blast attack, so I'm doing something wrong clearly. But there's another thing about equipments I'm gonna tell you. This one's defensive, but you get strike attack for each fusion battle member. So 4.25, she'll be getting 8.5% strike damage in total, because she's always going to be fighting with a battle member. And I think that applies to the enemy as well. So if I get an enemy fusion team, that might add, but I'm not sure about that, so don't quote me on that. But I know I checked out Vegito Blue pretty well. You can see strike attack 18%. This one maxes out at 20%. Vegito Blue is just nuts with the strike damage. Everyone knows that. This one maxes out at 18%, but I got it at 16%. So Vegito Blue's strike damage is going to be hitting because he just does that long combo extension, bringing in extra strike hearts. I start with Kefla, but switch out to Vegito Blue anyways. So that works well for my team. But the other thing that I do with my equipment selection, some equipments might generally not be the best for my team. There's lots of teams where I've noticed that I do that sometimes, but simply I only do this in the scenario I have Z equipments, because whether you believe it or not, for some opponents just having Z equipments is mad intimidating. They be like, oh damn, this guy grinds. When they see a team with full Z's, I genuinely notice people play worse. Not everybody, but people play worse more time. But if you have a Z equipment, it might not be the most optimal equipment, but more time is going to be a good equipment because it has high stats. So then I'll choose it based on that. But for the most part, I'm going for what's actually going to benefit my team. For example, if it's a region team, you know they're heavy on defenses. They do have some good offense as well, but mainly defenses. So I'd probably go for equipments that buff defense, just to make them that more like solid, like to the point they could tank a rise and rush. But obviously, the way I play, you don't win a game on defense. You need to attack. So I'd always go to buff strike or blast arts. Those two things. Most equipments have another stat that will be a blast defense, but it depends on what you're prioritizing. So whether this was a strike or well, this has strike and blast, but whether this was key recovery or anything else, the fact that this equipment had strike arts for Vegito Blue, strike attack buff, I would still choose it because that's what I'm looking for out of anything. I actually have it on Gogeta because Gogeta is pretty neat as well. Gogeta is nuts, like nuts. But yeah, that's pretty much how I choose my equipments for my team. I just tried to maximize the max potential. I'm not going to go through like, oh, this equipment's good, this equipment's bad, because there's so many teams in the game, there's so many equipments in the game that we'd literally be here forever. But you can literally just go through all the equipments in the game if you wanted to. So I'm gonna back out here. You go to equipment, and if you have the time, you can actually go to archive, so you can look at like the filter, whatever team you run. I don't know, you run Sun Family, let's just say. Confirm, these are the equipments that work specifically for Sun Family. Well, you know that most members on Sun Family are either Saiyans or Hybrid Saiyans because it's Goten, Gohan, and Goku. Pantu. But instead of doing that, you'd probably look for like Saiyans or Super Saiyans or Hybrid Saiyans, and then you can work accordingly. Like I know this equipment here works for Hybrid Saiyans, and it has blast defense. Trunks is really good with that sense. I know I was talking about Sun Family, but Trunks, if you're looking for a Vegeta family or a future team, you can get that type of equipment. But you could also use this website, which I'll just link. I don't remember the name off the head, but it will be on the screen so you guys can see. It's in the description as well. I'll probably put a pinned comment so that you guys can look at what equipments are best for what teams, so that whatever team you're working on, you can actually try grind that equipment, get them high S's. S's are really good. You don't need to go for Z's. I get Z's, but this is not a video on how to get Z equips or anything like that. I get Z's because I just think they look nice. But they're actually better than S's, but they're not that much better than S's for how much resources you're going to use to actually get that Z. So if you get S's, that's good enough. Full S's are actually good enough, but I just like to get Z's because they look nice. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, man. Hopefully it was informative in one way, shape or form. Of course, like I said, I'm not the all-knowing being of how to make a team, but I just work on what I think is best. Like I said, I don't always do things based on what the stats have. I think Z's are intimidating, so people tend to crumble is what I've noticed. Not everybody does, but some people just make more mistakes because they just think you're better. But yeah, just try to prioritize your main stat. Just like that's the main thing I carry away, because that's what you're going to be doing more than anything. Like if Vegito Blue had 2 blast arts, I'd buff his blast arts simply because I'd have more of those cards. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was informative again. My name is Zakashi, guys. Press that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're on this grind to 15k. I feel like this video is going to be quite a useful one, but yeah, I'm just going to leave it like that. My name is Zakashi, guys, and I will see you guys in the next one.